I decided not to bring the Brompton out today because I have not prepared it for winter time yet. Guys, this unexpected snowstorm has got me thinking about what I need to do to winterize the Brompton. Yeah guys, it's an unusual thing to see everybody bundled up for winter at the beginning of September. It's usually summer-like temperatures at this time of year. It goes to show you the climactic weather changes here in Denver. It can get really crazy really quick. Yesterday it was snowing and I was walking around in the snow. This has got me thinking a lot about how I am not prepared for winter yet. It's amazing how the summer just blows on by here. If snow's happening this early in the year, I'm kind of wondering if it's going to be a really bad winter this year. During the winter time when it snowed, I always had a fat bike, but I got rid of my fat bike at the beginning of summer, actually at the beginning of spring this year. I never want to ride a fat bike during the winter again. There are several reasons for this, guys. Riding a fat bike this last winter was a pain in the ass. It was like a major pain in the ass, and I just did not have fun with it. So all last night, guys, I've been thinking seriously about what I'm going to do for this winter. Last year, the fat bike was completely just inadequate. I mean, it worked in some situations, but not all situations. There were certain situations where the fat bike just was more of a pain than it was worth. When you had a blanket of freshly fallen snow, it was okay. The fat bike did really well in those circumstances. But 9 times out of 10, the winter was not like that. So basically the first fall in snow, the fat bike would do good. Of course, overnight, the snow would freeze, especially if it started to melt a little bit during the day. It would be icy conditions. The fat bike would slip around just like any other bike would. The traction wasn't all that great. During those days when it was extremely wet out, like the wet snow, it got really miserable. And when the temperature is high enough where the snow melts during the day, which happens a lot here in Denver, the ground gets really, really saturated. So the snow would be cold, but it would be more like a slush. And that slush was kind of miserable to ride a fat bike in because basically all of the slush would sling up all over you. And I put those kind of like strap-on fenders on the fat bike. They're the only thing I could, find at the time. And they didn't work very well at all. So needless to say, guys, it was just miserable riding the fat bike. I would say like during the whole winter time, and I've done 3 winters here in Denver so far. And during the winter time, you could ride a regular bike probably 9/10 of the time. You could ride a regular bike and be perfectly fine. The fat bike came in handy in certain situations, but those situations were few and far between, I should say. So it wasn't really worth having all the trouble that you had to deal with a fat bike. When I brought that fat bike into my apartment, the snow was packed all inside the wheels, and there was a lot of wheel there. I mean, a fat bike's wheels are huge. So by the time you let that thing drip dry in your kitchen or your apartment, your floor was a mess. And this was a day-to-day thing, so it was getting really aggravating. I couldn't even keep my apartment clean having a fat bike or any bikes. Like all these full-size bikes were so dirty when you brought them in after a day of riding in the snow, rain, slush, any of those conditions. It was horrible. So I would say mostly during the wintertime last year, the year before that, I rode my full-on commuter bike most of the time because it was more than adequate. And even in heavy conditions, I was still able to ride a commuter bike because it was slow going. But then again, when you think about it, the fat bike wasn't very fast either. So I'm not sure I saved that much time. But this will be the first year that I'm going to be riding the winter time with a Brompton or any folding bike for that matter. And I don't know what I'm going to do 100% yet. I am going to get a set of studded snow tires for this bike, but I have a couple of ideas on how to get through the winter this year. And one of those ideas obviously is using public transport if I absolutely have to on those days when it is extremely dangerous. Because there were a lot of days when the ice got really bad. And I don't care what bike you have, ice is not very good to ride on. So ultimately, yeah guys, I am not prepared for the winter yet. It's kind of sneaking up on us here in Denver. So hopefully this was just a fluke and winter is not already here. I hope that's not the case. But if it is, then I got to figure out something really, really quick.
The next day.
Oh man, guys, this is the coldest it's been in a long time commuting into work. Yeah, it is like 39 degrees here, which is not horribly cold. I mean, it's really nothing in the grand scheme of things, but it's as cold as it's been in a long time. So, you know, wearing a sweater, wearing pants, I'm just not used to that. Like I said, I'm not ready for winter time, but it's the next day. I'm commuting to work. My whole couple days off, it's been cold, and I haven't done much riding, partially because I'm not prepared for the cold. So this next weekend's going to be nice. We're going to go on a long bike ride, I promise. We're going to do some fun stuff. And don't get me wrong, the fun does not stop during winter time. I do a lot of winter riding. I do winter camping. I do winter tours. There's going to be a lot of winter riding here on this channel. So I know that the summer's kind of blown by and that kind of sucks. COVID has kind of ruined it for everybody. It's an illness that I just wish would go away. But regardless, guys, we'll get through it. Everybody will get through it. The cyclists will get through it. The old people will get through it. Everybody will get through it, hopefully. Anyway, I'm here at work now and I got to get inside and get my day started. So if you guys have any comments or questions, leave them down in the comment and question section. Slap a like on the video if you like it, and I will talk with you guys on the next one. Bye-bye.